What's up everybody, welcome to the first ever episode of the Marketing Forge. Today we're going to be talking about how to make the most of your meta campaigns, specifically in your ASC shopping setup, so your advantage shopping campaign setup. So this is a relatively new setup for Meta, and with the rollout of Meta Andromeda algorithm system, it's going to be really important that we get the base settings right for your campaigns. If not, they're liable to basically deliver in a way that is not optimal for your business. So we're going to go through that today. Really quick and easy, but if you do this right and you have the right connections here and the right data setup, it's going to massively improve your performance output in your Meta account. Okay, so here we are in the Marketing Forge demo account. This is going to be super quick. So the best way to do this is to make sure you are logged into the correct ad account firstly. Then we're going to want to go to, there's nothing here because we've not got anything set up. You're going to want to go to advertising settings on the left hand side. You're then going to see audience segments here, and then you're going to see this engaged audience and existing customers set up. Now this may seem really trivial because you can build on top of these, but the basic delivery and the optimal delivery of ASC is to have this done correctly. Type as a new customer acquisition campaign type, but you have to get it right. Otherwise it will default to warm traffic or existing customer traffic. So what you can see the definitions here. So existing customers, these are the people that have purchased your products or signed up to your services. And then you've got engaged audience. These are people who are aware of your business or interacted with your products or services, but not made a purchase. And these are the clear distinctions. So effectively what Meta is trying to do with this is trying to establish who is your existing customer base, firstly, so that it can go off and find new people, but equally it's giving you the option to define an engaged audience, so those that are potentially aware of the business, warm traffic to a certain extent, so that you can then report and track on that account. And this is really useful because some businesses will have long consideration cycles where engaged audiences may need more remarketing or more touch points within an ASC ad campaign, or you may have a really short conversion cycle or consideration cycle where you don't need that. But either way, it's really important to find these. So the existing customers here, you can either create a custom audience right off the bat or do this in your usual audiences tab setting. Now I've seen a lot of accounts where they're a little bit lazy and they'll do the pixel audience for 180 days purchase and then call that a day. That's not sufficient because Meta will have a huge amount of data coming through, and if you're relatively well established e-commerce business operating on Meta, 180 days is going to be a tiny proportion of people that actually come through and purchased. Not only that, the pixel audience is usually not sufficient and doesn't have enough identifiers in there to give you the best proportional volume of people that have actually come through as a match rate. So my recommendation on this would always be to use a CSV list. If you are using a CSV list and you don't have the likes of Klaviyo integration or MailChimp or Zapier via a different source, CSV is great, but you need to make sure that you remember to update this list as regularly as you can, either weekly or monthly. Otherwise, and I've seen this happen often, you'll have lists from 1 to 3 years ago that just are redundant because that period has meant that there's just so many new customers coming in that are then becoming returning customers that Meta is not aware of. So that would be my recommendation on that. Now, engaged audience, again, they are giving you the option here to define this as you will. Things like video engagements, page engagements, those kind of things are added to this by default. So you don't have the option to add these in as a custom audience. This is literally lists, customer lists that we're able to use here. So I've been looking into this more recently, and I think a reasonably valid use of this is to potentially use it as lapsed customers. So for example, you could have people, over 12 months who have not bought from you or have only bought from you once, and they could be defined as an engaged audience so that you can kind of optimize around that. But you're also aware that they need to be engaged, because just because they're existing customer doesn't mean that they're an active customer. Alternatively, and an easy way to get started on this is to use the pixel data and have it at a standard 180 days or website visitors type of setup. I think this one will ultimately depend on your business and how successful or not those types of audiences are for you, or if you need them or not. But essentially, this is how you do it. And when you set these up in the account, what you'll see is that by default predefined when you come to building your ASC, which is really useful. Let's see if we can do one here. So we go sales, and interesting to note here is that everything is becoming or is moving over to an Advantage Plus sales campaign in some way, shape or form. So most of what the pre-existing audience types were for standard setups are, you know, like your custom audiences for exclusion, inclusion, that kind of thing. Interests, more specifically, they are becoming redundant, so you need to be moving towards this kind of ad account level setup as quickly as you can. So we'll go for the Advantage shopping campaign. I'm not sure if this is going to show it to us because we don't have anything set. Oh, here we go. So audience segment reporting, so you'll see it in here and they will be defaulted here, and then everything moving forward, and I highly recommend you then use broad audiences on top of this, because you've already set your parameters of existing or not. And then it's just about Meta going out and finding the best fit customers for you with the new Andromeda delivery system. Now, this is all pre-dependent on having really, really good creative, lots of it, and really understanding your personas and your buying habits and your buying drivers. That's a prerequisite for all of this. Poor creative is not going to suffice in an ASC shopping campaign in the long run. But everything else is as you would know it, but it's really, really important to do this because Meta don't shout about this necessarily in terms of the ad setup, but it's, you know, critically important to get this right moving forward, because everything is going to be moving into that ASC model. So there you have it, the first ever episode of Marketing Forge in the books. Very, very quick one just to give you some advice on how to set up your ASC campaigns with the optimal audiences. Hope you enjoyed that. There'll be more coming, quick, you know, tactics, strategy ideas, things born of real experience, and we'll as we go moving forward. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.